Hey, what's up guys? This is Ivan from Brainy-Bits.com. In this tutorial today I'm going to show you how to connect and use a Bluetooth module with your Arduino projects. As you saw in other tutorials, we used RF and IR remotes to actually control at a distance an Arduino. Now using the Bluetooth module you can do the same thing, but it's actually a little bit cooler because you're actually using your phone to control everything. Now the module we're using today is the HC-06. Now there's also the popular one, HC-05. The big difference between these two guys is that this one can only be a slave and the other one can be master or slave. For most purposes though, a slave device is fine because the master is going to be the phone that you want to control it with. So the HC-06 is good for that. Now, like I always say, go to our website to see the schematics, to see all the connections that you'll see it a lot better than on the video here. What's important when you're using this device is to make sure to drop down the logic voltage from 5 volts to 3 volts. Because these guys, if you use a 5 volt logic voltage on it, you might actually destroy the actual module. So you achieve that by doing a simple voltage divider using resistors. So to make it interesting today, what we're going to do, we're going to use the DHT11 temperature and humidity sensor, and we're going to get those values from the Arduino and display it on the Android phone. And also we're going to use the sliders on the application we're going to use today, and it's there's a lot of them out there. I chose to use the ArduDroid software, which is a free app that you can download on your phone. And it's a pretty good app. I mean, it's pretty easy to use. It gives you control over all the digital pins and even the PWM pins. You have sliders that you can play around with, and you can read analog values also. So I'll show you in the code how to actually add the code to actually read the data and also modify the LEDs here, which are WS2812 that we used before. And the way this is going to work, I'm going to play with the slider in the application, and it's going to light up these LEDs as I slide the slider in the application. And when we get data from the application, it'll read the value of this and display it on our phones. So we're going to cut here. We're going to go look at the code. I'll explain how that works, and then we'll come back and play around with the phone and light up some LEDs and read some values. So we'll be right back. All right, so here we are in the code. The way this works is that we downloaded the ArduDroid skeleton sketch, which includes all the code to actually communicate with the module. And what you do is that you download that code. You can go to our website and look at the tutorial. There's a link there to go to their website and download that sketch. So you use that sketch and you insert the bits of codes that you want for your particular project. And that's what we did here. So we're going to look at our modified version of that skeleton sketch from ArduDroid. So we're going to start at the top. We're including the libraries. One is for the DHT11 temperature and humidity sensor. And we're using again the fast LED library to control the RGB stick. And then we define the pins, which is connected to what. And here is the ArduDroid variables. So these are the commands that are sent and received. So we don't touch any of that. We're going to leave that as it is. And then here we're initializing the libraries. So for the DHT and the fast LED. And this is something that is used to in the ArduDroid also, so we're not going to touch that. And in the setup, we're going to add the setup for the fast LED and clear to clear the LED stick, make sure nothing is lit. And then serial begin 9600. 9600 is kind of important. That's the default baud rate of the HC-06. So you need to put that at 9600 by default. And that's the way it communicates. Next, we're going to print in HC-connected, so that'll be displayed in the little get data window in the ArduDroid software app. And we flush to make sure nothing else is in the serial. And here we go with the main loop. So the main loop serial flush again to make sure nothing is there. And here are a couple of variables that are used for the ArduDroid. So this was already there, so we don't touch any of that. And then all this part here, this is all the ArduDroid skeleton sketch. So basically we don't need to touch any of that. That's for the communication between the app and the module. Okay, so this part of code here is the same thing. So basically this the ArduDroid has a function that you can send text directly to the little module. We're not going to use that today, but that could be, you could enter commands here. I'll show, you'll see that when we use the ArduDroid. And here is the slider part that we are going to use. And this by default is there, so we just modified. So if the RD command is equal to command analog write, basically if we press the get data button on the ArduDroid, then we're going to execute this piece of code here, which we put in ourselves. So basically this refers to the last tutorial we did, the WS12 RGB matrix. So we're using the same code here. So basically when we play around with the slider, which goes from 0 to 255 in the app, so we say if the pin number is equal to 6, because the slider we're going to use in the app is the number 6, 1. So if that slider 6 is used, we're going to put numLED lights variable. We're going to map the map function that we used earlier in the other tutorial. So we're going to say pin value 0 to 255, which is the slider. And we're going to map that to 0 to numLEDs, which we saw at the top, which right now is 8. But if you have more, you just update that variable. And then we do the clear, and then we're going to light up the colors. The first LEDs are going to be red, the second ones are going to be orange, and the last ones are going to be red, depending on these numbers here. Then we set the brightness 50, and we show. So when we play with the slider, as we move the slider up, it's going to light up these LEDs. So this was already there, so we just put in that bit of code here in between. And then we get to the send data to ArduDroid, so that's the get data button in the app. And this part was already there, so that's the part that was already in the skeleton sketch. We added this part in between. So this gets the data, temp, and humidity to the Android. So we're reading the DHT11, printing some text like T column space, and then we put the temperature. The comma 0 is because we don't want any decimal numbers. And then we continue with that, and then put the humidity and a percentage sign. So every time we're going to hit the get data button, it's going to execute that piece of code, and we're going to see the result on the ArduDroid app. And the rest of the code that you see here, basically we're not using those, but these are basically all the pins, buttons that you see on the ArduDroid. So in case you press the button number 13, it does a digital write to the pin value as an output. But you could just remove that and just put your piece of code right here in between these things. So there you go, and you have, depending on which button you press, you add your code here. So basically that's what we did. When send data to Android, this was already there, so we pasted this in the middle, and that gets executed when we click the get data button on the ArduDroid. And the same thing here when we play with the sliders. So if the slider is equal to number 6, then we execute this bit of code. So the ArduDroid skeleton sketch is really easy to use. You don't modify any of this code here, and you just put in your code in the middle where it says add your code here. So it was really well done for that. So the ArduDroid, if you're starting out using Bluetooth, is a great option. So there you go. That's the way we're going to do it. So we're going to compile that, upload to Arduino, and go take a look at the results. Alright, so we're back, and we already uploaded the code that we just saw to the Uno. So now I'm going to plug it in. There we go, and as you can see, the LED is blinking on the little module, so it's waiting for a connection. Now I already started the ArduDroid application on my phone, so I'm just going to hit connect to a device. And there it is, HC-06. And there we go, we got a good connection. It stopped blinking. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to get data. We're going to hit this button, so we're going to read from the DHT11. And there we go, we get the temperature and humidity. Hit it again. And there we go, 20 degrees, 40%, so that seems to work fine. Now I'm going to use a slider to light up the LEDs. I'm going to shut down the light. And there we go. And there you go, they're lighting up as I'm sliding it. And the communication is fairly fast, as you can see. As I slide, they light up. All the way up. There we go. And bring it back down again. And there you go. So there you go, guys. Not too complicated. Just got to make sure that you use the right voltage for these guys. And using an application like the ArduDroid application, as you see here, is a great way to start experimenting with Bluetooth control of your Arduino projects. Now, like I said, there's a lot of them out there, a lot of different applications that you could use. I'm just showing you this one, but you could use any one you want. So once again, guys, if you like these videos, just subscribe to our channel and also visit our website, Brainy-Bits.com. You'll find all the parts you need to actually build projects like this and start experimenting. So once again, guys, my name is Ivan, and I hope to catch you guys real soon. Take care.